Mastercard and Visa knew. They knew children were being exploited, they knew trafficking victims were being abused, and they kept processing the payments anyway. A whistleblower just exposed the biggest payment scandal in corporate history. This is how two of the world's most trusted companies became money launderers for child predators. In January 2023, a senior compliance expert filed an explosive whistleblower complaint with the US Treasury's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. The allegations were devastating. Mastercard and Visa had willfully failed to stop their payment networks from processing proceeds from child sexual abuse and sex trafficking on OnlyFans. The complaint wasn't speculation. It was backed by federal agents who had witnessed the abuse firsthand and shared evidence with the card companies. This is the story of corporate giants who chose profits over protecting children. The whistleblower wasn't just anyone. They were a senior compliance expert with extensive expertise in fighting money laundering across the credit card and banking industries. Their complaint to FinCEN was precise and damning. Mastercard and Visa had knowledge of illegal content on OnlyFans since at least 2021 and were turning a blind eye to flows of illicit revenue. When child sexual abuse material is sold on OnlyFans, the complaint stated the card companies are directly handling the proceeds of these illicit transactions. This wasn't just a whistleblower's suspicion, it was confirmed by US federal agents. In a series of calls in 2021 and 2022, anti-trafficking experts, including federal agents, directly alerted Visa and Mastercard to unlawful content on OnlyFans. During one particularly tense November 2021 call with Mastercard executives, a federal agent accessed an OnlyFans account live and described sexually explicit images of what he confirmed was a young girl. The evidence was undeniable. The agent could prove it, and Mastercard executives sat through the uncomfortable presentation, knowing exactly what their payment network was facilitating. The Anti-Human Trafficking Intelligence Initiative published a study in April 2022 that found a high volume of OnlyFans accounts with common indicators of child sexual abuse material and sex trafficking. The whistleblower helped with this study, which was shared directly with the card companies. Using publicly available creator profiles, researchers uncovered what they called a tremendous amount of troubling material on the platform. Mastercard and Visa had the evidence, the expertise, and the legal obligation to act. Instead, they chose to continue business as usual. Here's what makes this even more damning. Mastercard, Visa, and Discover had already proven they could act decisively when they wanted to. In 2020, after public outcry over child sexual abuse material on Pornhub, all three card companies immediately blocked payments to the platform. Pornhub was crippled overnight, forced to rely on advertising and user data sales. The same companies that moved swiftly to protect themselves from bad publicity chose to ignore identical problems on OnlyFans. The difference? OnlyFans was too profitable to shut down. The whistleblower made a crucial point. The card companies had the power to turn off the switch to stop illicit material from being monetized. OnlyFans relies almost entirely on Mastercard and Visa for payment processing in the US American Express blocks online adult content entirely. Apple Pay and Google Pay have similar policies. Without Mastercard and Visa, OnlyFans' business model collapses. The card companies weren't passive participants. They were enablers with the ultimate veto power, choosing every day to keep the money flowing. In August 2021, 102 members of Congress, both Republicans and Democrats, called for a Justice Department investigation into alleged child sexual abuse material on OnlyFans. This wasn't partisan politics. This was bipartisan concern about child exploitation. The same month, the BBC had already documented explicit videos of underage teens on the platform. The warning signs were everywhere. Media investigations, congressional demands, federal agent confirmations. Yet Mastercard and Visa continued processing payments as if nothing had changed. After being confronted with evidence, Mastercard requested that financial institutions connecting OnlyFans confirm the site's compliance with standards and applicable law. All institutions affirmed that status, according to Mastercard. This is compliance theater at its worst. asking the facilitators of illegal content to self-certify their own compliance. It's like asking drug dealers to confirm they're not selling drugs. Mastercard knew this process was meaningless, but it provided legal cover while the money kept flowing. Since the whistleblower complaint was filed, Reuters uncovered even more evidence of abuse on OnlyFans. In July 2024, they documented hundreds of sexually explicit videos and images of minors, some as young as toddlers, appearing on the site since 2019. In December 2024, a child exploitation investigator reported 26 accounts containing suspected child sexual abuse material, all of which were quickly removed after being reported. The abuse continued, the evidence mounted, and the payments kept processing. Here's the truth that Mastercard and Visa don't want you to know. They had the evidence, they had the technology, they had the legal obligation, they had the moral responsibility, and they chose money instead. When federal agents sat in meetings and showed them proof of child sexual abuse being monetized through their networks, these companies didn't see a crisis. They saw a revenue stream they were unwilling to sacrifice. The children being exploited weren't their customers. The predators paying for the content were. And in the corporate calculus of quarterly profits versus human dignity, quarterly profits won. The OnlyFans payment scandal isn't just about two card companies or one platform, it's about a system that prioritizes corporate profits over child protection. When the institutions we trust to secure our financial transactions willfully ignore evidence of child exploitation, they betray not just the victims, but the very foundation of corporate responsibility. The whistleblower did their job. Federal agents did their job. Investigators and journalists did their job. Now it's time for consumers, regulators, and lawmakers to do theirs. Because until there are real consequences for facilitating child abuse, corporate giants will continue to choose profits over protection. The question isn't whether this will happen again, it's whether we'll allow it to.